This week on the Retirement Quick Tips podcast, I'm sharing with you my experience with my no spend October. Today, it's my favorite episode of the week because I'm talking about the 5 most valuable things I learned from taking a break from spending on everything but the necessities. Earlier, I jokingly called it my spend fast month, although it's not like spend as fast as you can. I'm fasting from spending money. That kind of points to one of the benefits actually of a no spend month is that some of the benefits, not fasting from food because there's health benefits and things like that, but fasting can help build character. Fasting from food, fasting from anything. It can seem scary to go outside your comfort zone, especially if you're used to, we eat every day, we spend money all the time, we do these things. And then when you just cut that off, it's like, whoa, that can be scary to even think about. But pushing myself outside of my own comfort zone and depriving myself occasionally, often even, is actually a good thing. And so by doing a no spend month, it helped me to strengthen my mental fortitude. I was saying no to myself over and over again. And at first, it can be kind of hard because it is an adjustment. It's not like really, really hard where you're like white knuckling it. It's not that kind of hard. It's just you're always kind of reminding yourself that oh yeah, I can't do that. I can't buy that, or I can't. So you're saying no over and over again. This builds character in a way that lasts well beyond a no spend month. We don't want to constantly be indulging ourselves. It's not good for our mental health. It's not good psychologically. We can't have those dopamine hits that come all the time from saying yes, 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 and constantly indulging our passions. So fasting is great because it can increase willpower, reduce impulsive spending, reduce impulsive decision-making in general. So you can't spend or do anything impulsively with your money when you have a no spend month. And even I don't have a huge spending problem. My husband might disagree sometimes, but it is good to learn to say no to yourself more often. For a whole month, I said no to everything. I wanted to go to Starbucks probably 2 or 3 times. And I was like, dang it, I can't go. It's nice to eat out, especially if I'm somewhere where it's not easy for me to go home and make a sandwich. But a couple times I was out at my kid's soccer game and it was lunchtime, and it would have been so much easier to just go and grab something real quick. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have lunch at home. I have plenty of food at home. And so it's good to say no. I also really wanted to buy some new leggings. I saw some leggings that I wanted and I couldn't buy them, and that was hard. But in general, the biggest thing I noticed, actually, my biggest learning takeaway was that I felt a noticeable reduction in my own anxiety. And I don't have real high anxiety in general, but sometimes I get anxious, and I noticed that I had more peace. And I think that peace came just from living more simply. It wasn't a huge thing, but it actually was noticeable. My anxiety is I do feel more at ease. I feel more at peace. And I think the reason is because I had zero guilt about spending money for an entire month. Now, this is kind of a me problem, but I actually do feel guilty pretty much any time I spend money, anytime I buy something that's not a necessity. Thankfully, if that's not you, great, because it sucks, honestly. It's a little disordered. I think it comes from how I'm naturally wired because I am a saver. I would prefer to save money rather than spend money. And I think that's why. So whenever I do spend money, I actually feel guilt about it. And it makes me a little anxious. It doesn't even matter. I could have $1 million of cash sitting in my bank account, and I would still feel some guilt about going out to eat or getting my card out of my wallet for pretty much any reason. I know that will probably never go away, but it was nice to just not have any guilt or anything about spending money because I just wasn't spending money. Another thing that I think is maybe a little obvious, but I think we easily forget it, is that when you spend money, that money doesn't equal happiness. So I think most of us know this, but we also forget it. And it is an easy thing to forget. So because I wasn't shopping for anything, I was just able to focus better on other things I enjoy doing. And I didn't really miss spending money that much. One of the other things I learned is that We all have some insecurity about money. And for me, sometimes I worry about something catastrophic happening financially. And all of a sudden, I have to completely change my lifestyle, sell my house, sell car, move somewhere else. And I'm going to have to start all over. It's not a rational fear, but I do think about it. I do think about if I really had to cut back and not spend much money at all for a really long time, that would be really hard. I don't want to live on rice and beans. And I like buying the good eggs for my kids and stuff like that. So, not spending money on anything extra for a month, it really gave me the confidence to know that if I had to cut back, I could do it. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And so I think that was freeing in a big way as well. The last thing I learned that I really appreciate from the no spend month is sometimes I think we don't realize that there are certain things that are very clearly needs, and there are certain things that are very clearly wants. And there's a lot of things in the middle, there's a spectrum. There's such a huge gray area, and you have to ask yourself in a no spend month, is this really a need? Is this a necessity? And asking that question over and over again, it really helps to clarify what is a need and what is a want. Things are going to happen during your no spend month, things that are unexpected. There are things that you could put off that isn't really a need. But as I mentioned earlier, there's a huge difference between buying gas to get to work every day, which is a need, and filling your tank to take a road trip, which would be a want. So you think of gas generally as a necessity, and it is, but a lot of it also depends on what you're using the gas for. And the same can be true with a lot of other things. So those are my 5 biggest takeaways from my no spend month. I learned a lot. And actually, I enjoyed it quite a bit more than I thought. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Ashley Michike, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.